Hey everyone, Miacidae here, welcome back to Darkest Dungeon. So today in the No Hope Estate, it's probably going to be a very short episode, but it's going to be a very high energy, very risky fight episode. Because the goal is to go fight the Redoubtable Raiju. Now, for those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't know, the Redoubtable Raiju is a very high damage, high-risk fight, and it's kind of a one-room fight. The rumbling of thunder. Someone has attacked a Raiju. The now-provoked crustacean is now going on a murderous frenzy, butchering anything it comes across. Put this savage down before it destroys the whole archipelago. I think that kind of explains, like, the danger level. It is a short Darkest quest. It is a one-room quest, and just to kind of put in perspective of how dangerous this fight is, on my 3.5 estate, when I could do this with healers, I went in with Junia in row 2 and Dismas in row 1, I believe it was, and they got hit from almost full health. I believe Junia was at full health. Dismas took a hit, so he wasn't quite at full health. And they got dropped from roughly 30-40 health to death's door from a single crit. And with this estate having me not be able to heal, that's what I'm dealing with. And he has certain mechanics where, like, he's gonna be targeting the back row way more often or the front row way more often, depending upon what happens. I'm not going to spoil for those of you who don't know this fight, but it is a very cool fight. It probably is one of my favorite fights in the entire modded scene. Props to the makers of this for making such a memorable fight, along with the Omi Bozu. These are two of my most favorite fights for reasons. Now, that also being said, I'm hoping that a repost fight will make this work very well, because otherwise I'm a little bit screwed and I don't know how to go about this fight other than a very high dodge and to kind of hope on that dodge. So today's group is going to be a marking party along with a reposting party. So we have Huangqi, the Martial Saint. The reason I want him is the 6th General's Head, giving him the ability to do a very high damage armor-piercing riposte. So that turns Feign Retreat here into his highest damage attack. It also lowers the Omi Bozu's dodge, which he does have dodged. And that effectively gives Huangqi a second, if not third attack, because the Raiju does have multiple attacks. We also have the Asia Dragon Claw for plus damage in the beginning portion of the fight when he's above 80% health. The Raiju does have a good chunk of health and plus 50% damage versus anything that's marked. We also do have Asia Dragon's Ascension, but that's not going to come in handy too much because, well, Huangqi is in the front, so we're going to be doing less crit, and the Raiju will count as being in the front, so we're going to be doing less damage. But we also do have Towering Presence to give Huangqi a block and buffing the entire party's damage, and we can use this pretty often, but if we do that, we're not doing any damage with Huangqi. We also have Wolf's Tassel on him, so he can't be marked when we use Feign Retreat, because Feign Retreat with the 6th General's Head will mark him, and it also does plus 2 flat damage and plus 2 damage versus marked, which we will hopefully be marking the Raiju. Next up, we have Yugi, our Oni. She has a few things going for her in this fight. The Raiju is a size 2, so opening up with Mountain Breaker is going to be huge, because this gives her armor piercing plus damage versus size 2 and armor and accuracy versus size 2. That being said, unless I use Asia Dragon's Ascension to go back into row 1, that's gonna be a one-time use. Otherwise, we have Inexorable Advance to mark Yugi, so she's attacked more often, and then once she's marked, I can use Obliterate to do more damage and accuracy while marked, and any of these attacks also apply their bonuses to her riposte, which we have the Ibaraki in row once again, which anytime she attacks, she activates her riposte, so I don't have to do any weird things to give her a riposte. Next up, we have her Hero's Hairpin, giving her armor piercing just no matter what. Unfortunately, that's not enough armor piercing on the Hero's Hairpin to go through all of the Raiju's armor, or protection, if I recall correctly, but it is a good chunk of it. And then plus damage on all of her melee skills, so that's going to help significantly as well. Next up, we do have Corsi, because we do need a marker, so that's what Vulnerability Hex is for, and minusing some of the dodge once again. Between the Vuln Hex minus dodge and the Feign Retreat minus dodge, that should be all of the Raiju's dodge. but that's kind of secondary, and then I'm probably going to be going into Weakening Curse after that, minusing the protection and the damage. We also do have the Cursed Incense, upping debuff chance so the debuffs go off, and on range attack kit, which is everything in Corsi's arsenal, up damage received on the Raiju. And then just upping debuff chance again with Maciac's Head, because if I recall right, the Raiju has a very high debuff resistance, and the 140 and the 30% chance to a 170 won't guarantee the debuffs going off. Finally, we have our Falconer. This is just damage versus marked, but we also can mark and clear stuns if I need to. Once again, if I remember right, they can do stuns, if not AoE stuns, which are kind of nasty. We have the Deadbolt Crossbow, doing plus damage versus marked, and on any range attack hit, buff Sulfur plus 10% damage. And I recall the Raiju being Eldritch, so that's why we have the Eldritch Slayer ring. So I'm going to hope for the best, and I'm going to expect the worst. I'm expecting at least a few people to die here because the insane amount of damage, but we're going to see what happens. If we get through this, we get the Swindler's Kunai for the Highwayman. It's their Sunward Trinket. It gives plus 40% crit on all melee skills, plus 8 crit versus Yokai, but minus 30% damage on all ranged skills for the Highwayman. This can be used in conjunction if I really wanted to go a damage build with the Highwayman, with the Scoundrel See-Through plus damage and accuracy, so they have insane damage and crit on all melee skills. It is an insane build. So we're going to do what we can. I don't recall needing food for this fight. There at best might be a single hunger check. I do believe he can bleed. I'm going to take the medicinal herbs. I'm taking the holy water. We're taking a few major Omamori because that gives me protection versus the big guy. He can stress us out, and I believe he can also move us, so I'm taking amphitheater for everyone so I don't get moved out of the places I don't want to be. I'm not blighting, and I have enough debuff resist or debuff chance on the one person I really want the debuffs from. I'm going to take memorial ribbons here because I do not want to be crit at all. This gives me minus 8% crits received as long as my HP is high enough. He does have a good bit of dodge, and the extra protection might help me, so that's we're gonna bring the training ribbons. It's kind of one of these things I kind of want to go all out for because this is gonna be one of the sketchier fights. You know, I'm gonna bring a third Omamori because these are only good for 3 rounds or 2 rounds, so we might need an extra one. I don't recall him doing horror, but just as in case, we are going to bring red seals for the damage versus marked, so I can do extra damage to him based on that. And once again, I don't remember him doing blight, but as a just in case, we're going to bring those and we'll be fine. I want to save these Aegis scales because we only have 2, and there's other fights I would rather use those on. The sickle left in the head causes the Raiju to relive some of its past as a human. This causes it to go through resolve checks, similar to your characters. Oh, that's interesting. It's one of the more fun mechanics there. So ribbons on everyone. And then off we go. I think this is like the one map you can hear the crackle of thunder. It's kind of cool. And then this rain effect is awesome. I love it so much. I wish more maps did something like this. But I also wonder how much file this uses, like file space and stuff like that. Alright, boss time. Holy waters on everyone. We're popping one of the Omamori. We're going in. I just realized this isn't his actual arm here. This is a guard, isn't it? So Redoubtable Raiju, 332 health, 30 protection, 34 dodge, 12 speed. He is very fast for a crustacean. 128 stun resistance, 98 blight resistance, 138 bleed, 83 debuff, and 63 move, not that you can move him. I actually think he's a size 3, but he might be a size 2. Eldritch Yokai. So we are going to Vuln Hex him right off the bat, even though he has 3 actions. So this will fall off by the next turn. Triple Barrel Teppo. Hurt a little bit. So we're going to use the Red Seal to improve our damage versus Marked, even though she doesn't do damage versus Marked. Still plus 10% damage and crit. Then we're going to Mountain Breaker. This does armor piercing versus Marked, 60% damage versus size 2+, and plus 10 accuracy, so we're going to do up to 43 before a crit. And more importantly, this gives the same effect to her riposte, which she will be getting. Ooh, I wish I hit more. Okay. One more round on that. Heavy Barrage hits for 17 to 22. Quick Shot hits for up to 25. We're going to do Quick Shot. Not getting the crits I need. And he got a Virtue. So I think he's more likely to use the club. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Feign Retreat, lowering his dodge. Getting the riposte. So buff for plus damage, plus accuracy, gains buff on crit. Better chance to crit with Quick Shot once again. There goes most of my health, but good riposte. There's that stun I was talking about, but little late. We're gonna Inexorable Advance here for the mark on Yugi. That way she does more damage with stuff. Lightning never strikes the same place twice, huh? And she's stunned. Marking him for next turn. Not that it's gonna matter. Returning to reality, he's no longer virtued. We have one more round on this, but my protection is gone, so I'm gonna use another Omamori. Do I do the Quick Shot for the damage, or do I unstun Yugi? Let's do the Quick Shot.
A powerful blow.
Yugi. Gonna remark him. At least he went for the back line. Right? Then he's marked, so I can either Azure Dragon Claw and get some damage on him, or I could do Towering Presence, upping everyone else's damage and get a block on a Huanqi. Let's do that. Quick Shot, go, go. Higher crit on it anyway.
Devastating blow.
He went for the block. He went for the block. And now we don't have the riposte, so that gamble was so not worth it. We need to remark. Skewered Psyche. Now he's afflicted. He's more likely to use the Triple Barrel Teppo, I believe. So he's gonna blast the backline a lot. Azure Dragon Claw. Or not. Yugi is hanging in there.
Of oblivion.
Obliterate. Obliterate. Please hit high.
A victory. Perhaps the turning point.
I wasn't expecting that high, Yugi. Thank you.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
How did people not die? So we got 3 of the precious T-Bowls. Those are worth 5,000 apiece, grand total of 15,000. Child size hit pouch, that's for the half foot, plus 1 speed, plus 20% movement resistance. Triple barrel Teppo, that was the gun he was using. This is just a base Sunward trinket. Anyone can equip it. You get plus 15% damage on range skills, plus 3 crit, but you get minus 30% damage on melee skills, so you really want to make sure this goes on a ranged character. On range attack hit, debuff the target for plus 6% crits received. There's also the counterpart, Iron Thunder, so this does the exact same thing except for melee damage, and then it's minus damage on range skills, so plus 15% damage melee damage, plus 3 crit melee skills, minus 30% range skills. On melee hit, debuff the target for plus 6% crits received. It has the same set, so you could technically equip these and it'd just be at a minus 15% all damage, and then on either hit do plus 6% crits received. But then both of those are made to be used with the splintered encephalon. So minus 100% stress relief done from crits. On attack hit, you buff yourself for plus 2% crit while afflicted, and 3% protection while virtued. Both last the entire quest, so these are really good for endless or wave-based quests. And if you have these set, you get plus 5 accuracy, plus 5 crit versus yokai, and plus 25% virtue chance. Well, as long as you're not using someone with a custom affliction. His demented laugh pierced further than his sickle. I did not expect to get through that without someone dying. The 77 crit from Yugi was so clutch there in the end. I remember the Eldritch Blast. I thought that hit the 2 backline like no matter what, and then maybe the third person. I thought that didn't hit row 1, so I thought Yugi was safe. And it legitimately scared me when it hit Yugi. So we got 31,000 gold, most of which was from the T-Bowls. 16,500 gold as a quest reward, 6 portraits, and the Swindler's Kunai that I went over earlier. Observant on Quan Ki, no one cheat on the Falconer, neither of which I really care about.
The plume and the pistol. A fitting end to my folly, and a curse upon us all.
Nothing I care about in the Nomad Wagon. Audrey, get Vertigo off.
Is it Bear?
Baldwin needs Hagiomania off. I may be getting a few of these other quirks off, but it depends upon which boss I go for. Because I thought I got Flagellant off of Rex there. We can put Rex in here, get Flagellant off so he doesn't need to do that. And Corbin can get Enlightened off. And then I'm not going to be using Esmeralda, I believe, in the next quest, so she can get some stress relief. So taking a quick look at things, I don't really care about Elazard's Letter, Shocking Scale, or the Blasphemous Vial. So that just means I'm probably going to go for the Grand Prize, because that's going to get me some more Comet Shards. And that's going to open up the Destroyer from the Stars, because realistically I don't feel like messing with Crystal Harbinger or the Dwemer Lake again right now. And then that will be the plan for next time. I know once again this was a shorter episode, but I do once again feel like the Raiju, the Omibozu, and some of these bosses deserve their own episode because they are so cool. And right now, unless I go do like another short or a medium, which yes, I could get a cool trinket probably somewhere, maybe, and draw this episode out. Maybe not, maybe not. There's not much for me to do other than these bosses. So that's going to be my plan, is I'm just going to go for the Grand Prize in the next episode. And also, because this is coming out in October and I'm editing a few other things, it's going to make it easier on me, if I'm being totally honest. So that's going to be our plan, is next time going for the grand prize. I have to actually re-look up its resistances and stuff, because I know it does that whole guard thing and damage reflect thing with as long as it's above certain threshold, and it keeps respawning the vines that don't technically count as you killing anything. So it has a few weird mechanics to it, but I feel like it shouldn't be the hardest boss in the world. I just need to go about it smart. So that will be our plan, and that'll get us a lot more comet shards. And once again, the reason I want these is there are a few trinkets I would like. I have most of the ones I want actually now, but there are a few ones like the non-eludian hilt, which is nice because on attack, actually now that I don't have the crusader, I don't even want that, but I can get like the everlasting thorns here, which are 300. I could get the timeless seeds, which are 300. Those are really, really powerful ones. I'm sure there's a few other ones I'm overlooking, like the keen bolts here. I know there's a few other cheaper ones that I decided to kind of overlook, and if I went back I could probably go back and get them. So a few decent ones that we could go get, and if I do what I did last time where I got like 180, I can kind of get my pick of the litter. So we'll see what happens, but grand prize next time and we'll take it from there. So that'll be it for this time. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, and otherwise, as always, I wish you all well. I will see you next time, and please have a good one.